Good afternoon, everyone. So delighted that you could be here today. And I see some parents as well, which is wonderful. We welcome you all to this session to learn a little bit more about Eastman from the people who will be teaching you if you are a part of our undergraduate program in the fall. My name is Catherine Chasinski, and I'm currently chair of the Voice, Opera, and Vocal Coaching Department at Eastman. We have three areas, as our title suggests, that we consider really equally important to the development of singers in our program. So voice teachers, vocal coaches, and our opera faculty. So you will have representatives from all of those areas here to describe some of the aspects of the program for you in this next hour. We'll have time for you to go to a breakout room with some of the faculty in about half hour or so when we finish talking about our prepared topics. And you can ask questions directly of the faculty at that point. So we're delighted you're here, and we will get started. And I'm looking forward to inviting Professor Cowdrick to begin this afternoon. Professor Catherine Cowdrick, please.
Welcome, everyone. We're so appreciative that you're considering Eastman for your college years. We hope it'll be a really terrific opportunity for you to hear a lot about what we offer. And I've said this on the last couple of videos, and what I've been asked to do is talk to the parents and to you as young singers. So to you and your parents, I often ask my students if their parents are musicians or if they're normal people. And I see some smiles, so I guess some of you parents get it and some of you kids get it too. In that, I say, because maybe to all the normal people here on the Zoom today, there's a passion that your child has that is extraordinary. Not many young people have this kind of passion at their age, and you've made a lot of trips to the voice lessons and the concerts and ironed the shirts and taken the gowns to the dry cleaners, and yeah, you were the live audience, most importantly, for probably every recital since they could barely tie their shoes. So we are hoping that when your class comes in the fall, we will be more live, and we can only hope. So I think there's a good bit of hope for that. And we're really grateful for you and the support of your child's life in this music world. I am the mother, the proud mom of a classical singer and tenor, and each part of that life has had challenges and great joys. So I also add at the end of this that you will feel totally liberated when you don't have to fill out the FAFSA form anymore, right? You just see what, your income and your, yeah. So there's that element of no more FAFSA form. That's absolute liberation. It will come. And so also quickly to say to you who are our singers that please remember this, that your life is a journey. It's not a race. So you have this wonderful opportunity to learn, and more during COVID, because there's so much online to explore great singers of the past, and wonderful, great performances that were very cleverly done, including our own, which our opera staff will tell you about what we've got online for you to see. I think some of the biggest challenges for you now will be learning in school to be a better musician and more languages, and discovering spectacular repertoire you probably never knew existed, and learning your stagecraft and really making good musician friends, because you will all sing together. It occurred to me when I just was speaking in the last group of master students that someone, who played the piano for me is now leading Houston Opera Company. So in my lessons, so it becomes a wonderful, wonderful idea that we need to sing carefully and with good health, and let your teachers guide you. and to have the confidence to be really brave and put yourself out there to learn. Brave is one of my favorite words. So I wish you the best and welcome, and enjoy your life in singing. There's a lot more singing to come for the next 50 years for most of you. So welcome, welcome. And you'll hear a lot about our program from other people who are with you today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Professor Cowdrick. I'd love to start with the artistic director of our Eastman Opera Theater and one of our two stage directors on faculty, Stephen Daigle.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. Sorry, you kind of froze for a moment. I'm welcome, everyone. We're very happy that you've decided to look into Eastman as a possible choice for a very important time in your life. What I'm just going to talk about briefly is just a little bit of a thought process as you're going into your undergrad studies. I would imagine that all of you, just based on the talent, are, some of the most talented at your schools at this point. And you've had opportunities to perform, maybe a little bit differently this year, but had opportunities that you're going to look to want to do that in the coming years. What I'm here to tell you is that, we're looking to try to teach you in a way that you will have longevity in this business, sustainability. And we are probably going to make you slow down a little bit and say, there's so many facets to being a singing actor that can stand alone. Your language skills, musicianship, movement, right, stagecraft. And we're trying at these early, beginning of your process of really getting serious about what you want to do for the next 30 or 40 years. We really want to give you a foundation. And that's going to take a little bit of time for you to kind of understand in this fast-paced environment that, you're going to be patient with yourself and try to focus on those technical things that will sustain you for years to come. That's not to say that you won't have great experiences here, because we do cater to the undergrads. It's a very important part of what our mission is. The other thing that, and Professor Cowdrick mentioned this, but take heart of like what you're also supposed to do is become a better person, human being. We want to try to promote that as teachers, and we do not know where you're going to be at the end of 4 years, what you plan to do. And yes, you might, we're prepared to make it, give you the foundation to have a professional singing career, but there are a lot of different avenues that you possibly could take. And I know it's cliche, but we are trying to get you to find your own voice in what you do. And I think you're looking into a school and a faculty that really believes catering to the individual instead of putting you into a certain, we want every singer to be like this. So I'm grateful that you've chosen Eastman as a possibility. My other colleagues will talk about the opera program, and hopefully we'll see some of you next fall.
Thank you, Professor Daigle. In speaking of the opera program, would love to introduce the music director of our Eastman Opera Theater, who is Professor Tim Long.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Virtual Eastman. We're really glad to have all of you here today. And I went to school at Eastman 30 years ago, if you can believe it. I was here for 4 years. I'm originally from Oklahoma. And the thing that I remember most is when I came to Eastman, I really, truly felt like I found home. And I was surrounded by people who thought like I did, who were as passionate as I was, who practiced a lot more than I did. And that inspired me to then practice a lot more too. So it sort of helped us all to raise our levels together. Our opera program puts on 3 productions per year. We do a fall chamber opera in Kilburn Hall. And if you've looked at a tour of the school, Kilburn's our beautiful, beautiful recital hall. And it becomes an opera house. We have a full set, lighting, costumes, and a chamber orchestra. in Kilburn for that event. For our winter opera, we usually do a black box performance of full operas, again with sets, costumes, lighting, usually with piano or a chamber ensemble. For the April show, that's usually our biggest show, and it happens in Kodak Hall. And we have a full orchestra, full production values happening there. We normally double cast our productions as well, so there are a lot of opportunities for people. In this COVID year, of course, when so many things were canceled, we worked all summer to come up with options for our students. So we did something called Our Voices, and let me see if I can put it in if you look in the chat, I have the URL for that. And what we did with Our Voices is we contacted 6 highly esteemed vocal composers in the world, and they curated our programs with us, they coached our students, and they did talks with us. And then our students worked with our directors and designers to come up with ideas for their own backdrop. We recorded with our fantastic GA pianists in Kodak Hall. And then we moved to Kilburn Hall, where, when we have mass singers, we don't allow anyone else in the room. So we had a 3-camera remote control setup along with recording equipment and a green screen backdrop. So they recorded live to the piano recordings, and then we overlaid all of the other elements. And I think they turned out extremely well, and they're quite diverse. So take a look if you can. For our winter show, we're doing Dominic Argento's Postcard from Morocco. And because of COVID, again, we are making a film version. I'm going to record the orchestra. We'll record some of the singing parts, and then we'll go to our scene shop where we're going to actually make a movie, basically, and they will record and film in our scene shop. For the April show, we're doing Kevin Putz's Elizabeth Cree. And we're doing these because Argento and Putz are both Eastman alums, and this is our centennial year. So we're trying to pay a nod to that. And with Elizabeth Cree, we're doing a similar thing. We're recording orchestra, we're recording voices, and then we're staging on set in Kodak Hall. So it will be a film version, but directly from one of Eastman's theaters. Generally, well, no, this is all the time. What am I saying generally? All the time. When you arrive at Eastman, it can be a bit of a change, And a lot of people arrive and they think, was it a mistake that I was admitted? And that's a common thought, really. But we give you the first year to get to know your teachers, your coaches, just to get acclimated at Eastman, to take your acting classes, movement classes, and then you're allowed to audition for our productions beginning in the spring of your first year, meaning that you'll be auditioning for the fall show of your sophomore year. But freshmen do not participate in the operas just because it is a big change to be here. And from then on, we double cast our shows, and we are pretty equitable between casting grad students and undergrad students. So you will often find even sophomores in leading roles at Eastman. And we have a tremendous orchestra. I was saying in one of our breakout rooms, one of the best things to do is to go to Kodak Hall and just listen to an orchestra rehearse, and you will hear world-class playing, and then you'll realize they're freshmen and sophomores. And it's very inspiring, but the great thing is they sit in our pit for our productions as well. So you'll get a really, really high quality opera experience here. Good luck on everything. I know it's a big decision for all of you. It's an exciting time, so follow your gut and stay positive.
Thank you, Professor Long. So appreciative. One of our other stage directors who participated in devising some of the magic that happened in our Voices production is Stephen Carr, one of our 2 stage directors who are on full-time faculty here. So I'd love to have him speak with you a little bit now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm here to tell you a little bit about some of the course offerings that we have in the undergraduate program in the opera area. But I want to start by saying that one of the most special things about your 4 years at Eastman is the bond that you have with your fellow classmates. These will become lifelong friends and colleagues, and you'll stay in touch forever. And I'm lucky because I get to teach some of the classes where the full voice class is together in the classroom and where a lot of that group bonding happens. As Professor Daigle mentioned, from the beginning of your studies, we really believe that stagecraft is an integral part of you as a performer, and we want you to feel comfortable and confident on stage and in your bodies throughout all of your study here. So right away in the first year, we begin you on a course of acting and movement and text classes, which begins with a class called Body Awareness, Movement, and Dance. Now don't panic, you won't be doing many hours at the ballet bar or anything quite like that, but it's just to keep you comfortable in your body, learn some of the dances that you may actually be asked to do in operas and in music theater, and also to sort of build a vocabulary of physical movement and stagecraft that we'll then use through the rest of your time. In the sophomore year, we have a scene study class that fully performs non-musical scenes from various plays and repertoire. And then the second semester is followed by a course that I teach called Text and Music, where we look at what happens to all of this wonderful acting technique we've built when music is added to the equation, right? Because that changes everything in many ways. In the junior year, the course is called, what's it called these days? Lyric Theater Workshop. And that's just continuing to build on your stagecraft skills. We're especially focusing these days on making really fantastic video auditions. I have a feeling that even when we're on the other side of this pandemic, that's going to be an essential skill for all of us moving forward. So that was a big focus this year. And then in addition to your coursework, Professor Daigle, Lindsay Baker, our acting instructor, and we are always available to you for individual coachings. If you want to get together and just have another pair of eyes, look at your performance, give you some feedback. If you want to sit down with a piece and pick through the text and figure out this character, we're always happy to find a time to meet with you and do that. So thank you for your time, and I'll pass it back to Professor Tuszynski.
Thanks so much, Professor Carr. So you've learned a little bit about what the opera coursework is like, but the other half of what you do is developing the instrument that you were given and that you are now the custodian of, as well as your language skill acquisition. And Eastman excels at this as no other school. And I'd love Dr. Miller, Russell Miller, to tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I think I've gotten to know all the applicants in our fun 5 minutes of skills tests in the past week. Now I see some parents around the Zoom screens too, and I want to echo Professor Cowdrick's welcome to the parents and our acknowledgement that no music student succeeds without a great deal of support and dedication and a team. So thank to all of you who make it possible for these talented people to be applying to our school. As Professor Tuszynski said, languages are extremely important. They are the vehicle by which all of the musical and acting skills are communicated, and of course to the public. If you come to major in voice at Eastman, we like to say that you will effectively earn a minor in foreign languages, because one of the things that sets us apart from any other school that I know of for voice majors is the experience of having a full year of each of Italian, German, and French in your undergrad together with diction in that same language. So in your first year, formerly called freshman, first year, Italian, 2 semesters, sophomore, German, juniors, French. We also teach English diction. We used to do that in the senior year, but you have to sing in English from day one, so we now teach that in the first year as well. Many of the teachers of languages are native speakers. They're part of our Eastman in-house humanities department. You don't have to go to River Campus. You can, of course, go, especially if you have a dual degree or double major or other interests, but you can stay right in the Eastman campus and get world-class humanities instruction, including languages. And if you're interested in one of those languages beyond the required year, there are 200 level courses that are available. Independent studies, classes in, we've had classes in German film and Italian libretti that are sometimes conducted partly in the language. And beyond Italian, French, and German, we have teachers and professors of various extractions. Professor Swenson is Norwegian and has sung a great deal in the Scandinavian languages. We have people who can help you in Russian and Spanish and Swedish and all kinds of other things. So we're really excited about the language part. I have seen as someone who used to judge the Fulbright applicants, how our graduates have that leg up from those from other schools because of their language ability. Related very much to language is vocal coaching. You've heard a little bit about the dramatic coaching that's available from the first year. Our vocal coaching is laid out very clearly in the student handbook, which is on the department web page of the Eastman website. You're getting a lot of information today, but you can go look this up and see the specific requirements. Vocal coaching is an essential complement to voice lessons with your primary teachers. And vocal coaching is now recognized by being credit bearing and registered. There are 7 full and part-time coaches who assist. For every year you're at Eastman, there is some kind of regular coaching provided, starting with 30-minute sessions, working up to 45-minute sessions. In these COVID times, it becomes 30 minutes of singing and 15 minutes of speaking, but you get your time. So we'll look forward to a more normal time with that. And that's all laid out in our handbook. And then I'll say that the German coaching is very much related to, in the sophomore year, to the teaching in the classes. So in some ways our coaching and our languages are very much specifically intertwined. And another thing that we know is an expense at many schools, and it's a big commitment and a big investment to come to a school like ours. One thing we are able to provide without extra charge is, for the vast majority of our voice majors, is a collaborative pianist. We know at some schools from the first moment the meter is running in terms of having to pay a pianist. But for 30 plus years we have had an outstanding collaborative piano program, first with Gene Barr and now with Andrew Harley, and pianists who are specifically trained in playing for singers. Solo pianists here, composition majors, many others also enjoy playing for singers, and we are able, for the vast majority of our students, to provide you with a pianist free of extra charge for the curricular requirements of your degree, which includes your voice lesson, a rehearsal every week, a studio class, departmental recitals, juries and degree recitals. And then for your outside needs beyond that, such as competitions or recordings, you have a ready-made partner. Often I have seen singers come in their first year with maybe a pianist who's also younger, and they continue several years together and form a very important artistic team that becomes really significant to their growth on both sides. If you go in to Dr. Harley's accompanying lessons, you get extra coaching from him because he's working with both the singer and the pianist. So as you'll hear, Eastman is a terribly collaborative place in everything that we do. So those are 3 ways in which I feel, I've been here 25 years, that our department really can offer things that I haven't really seen anywhere else. We're glad you're here. Best wishes to all of you, and back to you, Professor Trzynski.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Thank you so much. We are duly proud of the fact that we do offer so much individual coaching and enhancement of what you do in your voice lessons. All of the voice teachers have performing experience, extensive performing experience, and we know what the value of vocal coaching is and how much it has enhanced our own artistry. So we are very, very delighted to share that with all of you who we have the privilege of working with in our program. One of the other assets of Eastman that is unique is something that I would love Professor Opelok to tell us about.
I would be happy to. Welcome all. Congratulations on the process of hopefully joining the Eastman School of Music in the future. I've been asked to speak about a very treasured part of our school, which is called the Sibley Library. We are pleased and proud to say that it is the largest music library of any affiliated college or university in North America. It is jam-packed with information which you will use for your own benefit as a student, as a singer, perhaps when you write a paper, those kind of things. On the website, and I encourage you to visit it. We have, this is all available free of charge. The Oxford Dictionary of Western Music, the Naxos Music Library, the Met Opera on Demand, so you can watch operas that you're interested in or might be cast in. Also a database of recorded American music, which is also very valuable for us being Americans. The other thing that I encourage you to look at on the website is the department calendar, the website calendar, which will for this semester will show you all of the events that will take place, be they concerts, recitals, lectures, which are presented through our department and are available to you to attend and to listen to. So the website is full of information for you all, and I encourage you to spend some time on it for your edification. So welcome, congratulations, and I look forward to hearing and seeing you. Bye.
Thank you, Professor Opalach. One of the things that sets us apart as well is the opportunity that we have at Eastman to be kind of in the crossroads of so many great performers performing schedules. They come to perform at Eastman either with the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra or by special invitation as part of our concert series. And when we can, we invite those great artists to stay an extra day and to give master classes and to work directly with our students. So not only do you get the experience of watching these performers do their incredible level of live performing, but then they turn around and they offer some direct experience to you in the form of master classes and sometimes even private coaching sessions that we are able to schedule depending upon the time availability of the artist in question. So just a very few of the names that we've been privileged and so fortunate to host here at Eastman. Of course, we would go remiss without naming one of our own alumna, who is one of the great operatic sopranos of our time, Renee Fleming, who comes rather regularly. She did a series of master classes and is always expressing interest to check in on us. So she comes back and will give master classes to our students. We've had tenor Ian Bostridge, folks who come into giving recitals. We have had major coaches and collaborative pianists, Craig Rutenberg from the Metropolitan Opera, Martin Katz, who has been at the University of Michigan forever, who will come and judge one of our major competitions this spring. So he will be back this spring. And we have really had an incredible array of composers who have come and spent not just a day, but sometimes a week or more, helping our students actually perform and get context for works of their own compositions that we have presented. So Jake Heggie has been here with Gene Shear, his librettist, to work on a show. We have had Ricky Ian Gordon, magnificent songwriter who wrote an opera called Tibetan Book of the Dead. And he came here as we reinvented that work that he hadn't had performed since its premiere years before. We did Light in the Piazza. Our opera season crosses over into the realm of music theater. And so we had Adam Gettle, the composer of Light in the Piazza, with us to work with the students directly. And of course, this fall in our Voices production, we had 6, as Professor Long mentioned, we had 6 prominent composers involved with our students directly. And they included Ricky Ian Gordon, songwriter, phenomenal composer Ben Moore, Laurie Laitman, a beautiful song composer and opera composer, who even wrote an opera on The Scarlet Letter, which most of you may have read as a novel in your high school classes. So these are just but a few of the luminaries that we've had. We also were privileged to host Patti LuPone from Broadway and Kelly O'Hara, who came and did open-ended interview question and answer sessions with our students. We are just so incredibly fortunate to have access to these wonderful artists to enrich our own artistry as we are growing. The The other thing that I feel is important for you to know, because of where we are in our process, is that we offer sample lessons to you all as finalists in our auditions process. And if you have not had the opportunity to do so yet, in your thinking about where you are going to go for school and who you would like to study with, you have the opportunity in this context to schedule 30-minute sessions with any of our voice faculty members free of charge. We are inviting you to do that from Monday, coming up the 25th of January onward, through the audition process, and you can get to know each of us a little bit better. You're under no obligation to take all of lessons with all of us, but certainly of your choice. You can set up lesson times by contacting each of the individual instructors. So please take advantage of that opportunity that we afford you by your reaching this wonderful milestone in the process of auditioning. We have a wonderful feature of our program, which is another unique aspect of being at Eastman. We are so fortunate to have a support group, and I'd love Professor Robert Swenson to speak to us about that a little bit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the parents also that are here. This is really, you're all to be congratulated because you're in front of us now as audition finalists, as it were, and that is quite an accomplishment. We're discerning faculty. I wanted to talk to you about your one of the really great advantages that we have at Eastman in our department, which is to be associated with a guild called the Friends of Eastman Opera. Friends of Eastman Opera are local, professional, retired professional people that have a common passion for classical singing and operatic singing in particular. The guild is omnipresent with the final rehearsals, production week. They are invited to see the final dress, usually of the operas, and they are just a wonderful, supportive, kind body of fans. And the thing that they do that is the most remarkable is that they offer financial assistance for projects that you will do as you continue through your undergraduate process, usually a little bit later in your studies, but even so, there are opportunities for underclassmen, that is to say freshmen and sophomores, to take advantage of some of the study grants that they provide. And that would be for travel to language programs, both nationally and internationally, intensive language programs, or a language and vocal performance combination type program in one of the European countries. And those would be Italy, Austria, I don't know about Switzerland, I don't think so, Germany, France, and England. So it's a wonderful opportunity. The airfares in the summer high season are not cheap to fly across the pond into Europe. And the Friends of Eastman Opera have been historically incredibly generous in providing a great deal of help, maybe not 100% of the help, but enough to make it possible for you to do that. So their capstone activity, as far as we are concerned, is the Friends of Eastman Opera voice competition. That is held in our large recital hall, Kilbourne Hall, which is a beautiful, beautiful place to sing and to be. It is a gala type event. It is preempted by a preliminary round where 75%, I would say, of the singers, maybe 60% of the singers will, with permission from their voice teacher, will enter that competition, and then it's narrowed down to a handful of finalists. And that finalist concert is a concert and a competition at the same time. We have invited judges for both the preliminary and finals round, There is a big reception afterwards in one of the reception halls here at the school, and the judge will appear and read the results of the prize winners, first, second, third, and honorable mention. And they are very generous cash awards. And it's a wonderful, wonderful experience to go through that. The kids get very excited about it. And if they're not participating in the competition, they are all there to see their friends compete. So that's really, really nice. And we're very, very fortunate and very full of gratitude that we have this incredibly generous guild of people. Very rare in academia to have that. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is the William Warfield Foundation Scholarship Group. This is a group of people of African American descent because they are honoring William Warfield, one of the pioneers of artists that, singers that are African American that began to find their way and to build very illustrious careers. William Warfield was so venerated that the composer Aaron Copland wrote the Old American Songs, which I'm sure you've heard about and probably have already worked on, for him. He was married briefly to Leontine Price. He is in the, I guess you could say, the generation of Marian Anderson, and all of that historical group of courageous African-American artists that push forward to create their own legacy in the classical music world. Not an easy thing to do in those years, but he was one of those people. He's an alum of the Eastman School of Music. As Professor Chizinski reminded me, he spent most of his life in Rochester. So there's a scholarship that is awarded to an African-American singer. And this year, her name is Jasmine Saunders, and she's a junior soprano, lovely, lovely singer. And she will be performing tomorrow on the online version, live stream, well, not live stream, but recorded performance stream version of the scholarship concert. And that I think is at 4 o'clock. Thank you, Catherine. 4 o'clock. You can find the stream, I think, through the Voice and Opera website, but you can, or the Eastman Calendar website, and you can also do it on williamwarfield.org. You do pay for the price of getting the link to watch it. It's nominal, but it would be very, I think, very interesting for you to see the level of artistry and how incredibly proud we are of this part of our voice, opera, and vocal coaching community. Very, very proud. So that's what I wanted to tell all of you, and I will pass this back to our chair, Ms. Chizinski.
Thank you, Professor Swinson. So one of the past winners of the William Warfield Scholarship is now our newest faculty member in our voice department and voice area of our voice, opera, and vocal coaching department. And so I take great pleasure in introducing Nicole Cabell.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello, students. Hello, parents. So I just want to tell everybody again, please catch tomorrow's concert at 4 p.m., the William Warfield Scholarship Fund concert. You can hear students that are currently here. Jasmine Saunders is incredible. And you can hear singers like Julia Bullock. If you don't know who that is, you must find out. And she'll be on the program. And she is also an alumni of Eastman. So please catch that tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as my illustrious colleagues have said before, I am an alumni, and along with Professor Long, Professor Carr, and you'll meet hopefully Professor Griffey at some point. We obviously loved Eastman enough to come back. So in fact, I think Stephen Carr and myself were in Professor Daigle's class at one point. So it's like a family, yes. Yeah, so I just want to tell you, of course, we loved Eastman, and I'm so happy to say that the energy is still the same, collaborative, encouraging, supportive environment. Um, you sort of can't go wrong. And I understand it can be intimidating to leave home for the first time, to choose a school and you don't know if you're going to get there and it's going to be intimidating. And of course, there's always moments where you'll feel intimidated, but at Eastman, I have to say it was certainly the best decision I ever made. And I got really lucky by choosing Eastman because of that. We are a few hours from Toronto. We're a drive from New York City, but yet you're sort of in this protective little cocoon out here in Rochester, surrounded by the Finger Lakes and hiking and, beautiful outdoor activities. So again, you kind of can't go wrong with the location, but you're kind of protected at the same time. And um, please feel free to reach out to any of us if you want to be put in touch with students, current students who can give you an idea of what it's like from a student's point of view at Eastman School of Music. So I would like to talk to you about a couple things. One is the COVID response that Eastman has undertaken. We're basically implementing the same measures that we had in the fall, which happened to be a very fortuitous semester because we started and completed the semester without having to shut down, without having any serious breaches. And part of that, of course, is the singing with masks. And I want to tell everybody that, through trial and error, I've just found that the medical masks are the best ones. They let you breathe and they stay on your face reasonably enough. But the medical masks and the cloth masks have been approved for in the fall and of course for this coming semester. Our great hope is that we're not going to have to implement these measures in the fall, but let's prepare, right? So start singing in them now just to get used to them when you can. We've gotten used to them, and those who are teaching in person have found that it's completely doable. Maybe not the greatest experience, but it's teaching us new skills. And sometimes we go back and forth with some online lessons to find out what's going on visually. So we have our own methods of dealing with that. But anyway, that and 12 feet minimum distance between singers, pianists, and their teacher in a room definitely reinforces that safety. And we have 30-minute breaks between lessons where we wipe down equipment and fogging at night to make sure that the rooms are really clear. We usually have aeration periods. We leave the doors open and HEPA filters. It's a very complicated and successful safety system that we've implemented to basically make sure that we continue to make live music. And we're one of the premier universities that have been able to do that. So because of those measures. So again, hopefully you will not have to deal with that. But if you do, if we do, know that we are taking every precaution. And the other thing I just want to throw out there is the importance of time management. So if you are all from high schools that are very rigorous, you probably are used to managing your time. There is a subset of students who come to Eastman that can be surprised by how strenuous the course load can be. But that's a good thing. That's what you're paying for. So I just want to suggest that you all pick up a planner now, paper planner, or use your phone and start just getting used to managing your time through scheduling everything. Schedule meal times, schedule social time, and of course schedule all of the necessary time that you need to practice. Just to give you an example, if you have to learn a piece of music and it's 30 pages, schedule the first 5, the next day schedule the next 5, etc. And that kind of system will hopefully eliminate some anxiety with not only knowing if you're going to get all your work done, but also being able to give yourself some free time. If you've scheduled it in, then that should eliminate some anxiety and guilt. And you're going to need that balance because it's a wonderful social environment here. So that's what I also want to say, that, we're here for you as your teachers and your mentors to help you figure that out. If you're having problems, feel free to always come to us. And even ahead of time, if you're accepted, talk to us ahead of time to figure out, maybe get an idea of your personality and what kind of load would be best for you. Great. So anyway, we're always open. Contact us through the website, through our emails if you have further questions about that. And I wish you good luck in this audition season. I hope to see many of your faces again very soon.
Oh, thank you, Professor Cabell. Just before we break into 3 groups where you'll have a chance to ask some questions directly to the faculty, I do want to introduce the people who are not able to be with us this afternoon. And there are 2 of the voice faculty who are not with us today. Dr. Jonathan Retzloff, who's a baritone and has been on faculty for about 5 or 6 years now, and Professor Anthony Dean Griffey, tenor, whose performing is well known at the Metropolitan Opera and elsewhere. And he was not able to be with us this afternoon either. So I just want to make sure that you know of those 2 voice faculty members. And then one of our opera and coaching faculty members, Wilson Sutherland, who is just a tremendous coach accompanist, is someone who is very valuable to our department and unfortunately was not able to join us this afternoon. So just so you have a sense of how big we are, and we are all full-time. We are all very engaged in collaborating and coordinating with each other and to supporting our students. So with that, I'm going to open up the breakout rooms, and you'll have about 15 minutes or so to ask some questions directly, and then we'll see you all back here to say big wrap up and good luck. So see you soon. Okay, please unmute yourselves if you wish, and I'm going to put us on gallery here so I can see everybody. And so happy that we could have a few minutes together. So Professor Carr, Dr. Miller, and I are here to answer your most pressing questions. So just raise your hand and let me call on you and we'll start. Anybody have something they're anxious to know? Parents, of course, are allowed to participate. Yes, Isana?
Yes. Hi. I just wanted to ask, like, are there any merit-based scholarships?
Yes, our scholarships are merit-based. They are need-informed, but they are merit-based. So the quality of your audition materials is what we base our primary merit scholarship upon. So
Thank you. Thank
yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else have any? Yes, Samuel.
Hi, I'm wondering like what kinds of recital or performance experiences you would get other than operas. Like how do recitals look? Is there just a senior recital? Can you plan recitals when you would like them, or how does that
Oh, there's all kinds of good stuff. I'll let Dr. Miller start that one, if you would.
Okay, thank you. Good question. Built into our curriculum for undergraduates in voice are, besides your lessons and then your studio class where you sing among your peers in the studio, departmental recitals happen every month, and they alternate between our Kilburn Hall and Hatch Recital Hall, which is our newest 225-seat recital space in the new East Wing. And on those occasions, 15 or 16 students from different studios come together and sing for each other. So that's, in fact, it's a required annual activity as you work toward your jury, which is the performance examination at the end of the spring semester. The jury requirements every year increase in length and in complexity based really on the languages that you've studied so far. So as a first-year student, you would sing in Italian and English, and then you add German in the sophomore year with intensive German study, and then French in the junior year. And the junior jury, and again, this is all on the student handbook because it's a lot of information. The junior jury is a public event, which is a half recital, done one after the other in Kilburn Hall. And this year, of course, we're dealing with the recitals the best we can as new COVID information emerges, and as creative as we all get. That leads up to the senior recital, which is really the capstone project. And we allow we have some requirements, but we also allow a variety of languages and styles that may be most suited to the particular student. Always, of course, with your teacher's input and also with the help of your coach. It's very common, as Professor Jasinski said, vocal chamber music, collaboration with instruments is very common, widespread. You may find that a composition major friend of yours will write you something to sing yourself. There is a requirement in the senior recital for the undergrads to have a piece written within the last, was it 45 years?
Mm-hmm.
So we really value contemporary music of all kinds. So that's what's within the curriculum. I'll let my colleagues speak about other opportunities beyond that.
Well, one of the primary ones, thank you, Dr. Miller. One of the primary ones is the choral program is so extensive in our school, and it is supportive to healthy singing. I have to say that front and center. It is so important for you to know that your voices will be cared for in the choral setting as well as in the solo setting. And many of the programs that the choral ensembles set up have solo opportunities attached to them. And so all of those are all in school, in-house, with very few exceptions. So you would get a chance to audition for those solo spots. And we also have a Bach cantata series that our student choral directors manage, and they do one to a part. So if you are selected to be in one of all of those, you actually sing the solos and all of the ensemble parts of a single cantata in a performance, public performance. So there are many, many things that offer singers special opportunities. Our Collegium Musicum, which is the early music ensemble, always features singers prominently. And in the past several years, this has gotten ever more extensive because singers realize that that's a place where singers are prominent in the music itself. And we have one of the premier musicians of that genre on faculty, Paul Odette, one of the premier lutenists in the world. And he is just an encyclopedic mind for repertoire. So if he has a weird combination of 3 tenors and 1 soprano and 3 altos, he knows a piece that was written for that combination of singers, and he features them all as soloists in those concerts. So it's a very exciting place to be for early music as well as contemporary music and everything in between. So we are very excited about those opportunities. So good question, Sam. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Anyone else have a question? We have time. Yes, Ashley.
Hello. I
Hi.
would love to know what has changed in the past year, given recent events about diversity and inclusion, and if there's been any changes to curriculum on social justice issues to inform musicians.
Thank you for asking that incredibly important question. I will turn that over to Professor Carr to start us off.
Yes, absolutely. It's something that's been at the forefront of our minds since, especially since over the summer. In fact, we in the opera area started meeting every week to begin addressing this. How can we improve? And we've made a commitment to increasing the repertoire representation that we have in terms of composers and the kinds of repertoire that we present. It's such an enormous beast of a problem that there isn't one thing we can do. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of the temptation is to sort of say one performative thing that feels good and then go back to the way things have been. And we are committed to not doing that. So in every decision we make, we're really asking ourselves these questions about representation, about whose voices we are uplifting, what stories we're choosing to tell. It's at the forefront of our minds. We've had already some workshops, department-wide workshops about racism in opera, how it manifests itself in so many different ways in our art form, and we're continuing to do that throughout next semester as well. We're also going to make a much more concerted effort. One of the beautiful things we have learned over Zoom is the ability to bring in guests to talk, right? We sort of had the mentality before that we needed to wait until someone came to town and then we'd have them be a guest, but we're committed to having a lot of our alumni who are BIPOC come to talk to our students about their experience. Our fall project, which was called Our Voices, we made sure that 2 of the composers we asked to come were Black composers who could talk to the Black experience of being composers of classical music. So to answer your question, yes, it's on our minds, and it's going to be, I've said to the students, if we ever going to defeat this beast, it has to be the death of 1,000 cuts. And we're committed to continuing to chip away at this problem and at these issues forever, and hopefully inspiring that in our students as well.
Yes. We also, the school-wide did a major project this summer, had a commission on racial injustice. And this commission was formed of people from our community and from the community surrounding Eastman and Rochester, as well as alumni who were out and about in the business. And they came together and had intense discussions over a very concerted period of time, and they came up with a huge list of recommendations. Some of them are short-term, some of them are longer-term, and some of them are immediate. And so those are now a kind of a set of directives that we are considering one by one. And each department in the school is undertaking a revision and a review of how we can be better at representation, both in terms of who's coming to do the work, as whose works are we doing, and really supporting the students of color in we are so wonderfully grateful to include in our student body, because they are a huge force in the motivating and initiating these projects. One of our Black students who's a senior has developed an outreach program that involves singers and other instrumentalists that he's going to be taking out to the community this next semester. And it was all about featuring these varieties of music of composers of color and students of color, and really bringing those things to the fore. So some of these projects are actually student driven. Certainly the motivation for us to include makeup artists, for example, for our opera productions, who are sensitive to the different skin tones and hair issues and costuming issues that might come up for our students in the productions. That is something we are taking absolute positive steps for. So it's many faceted, and it is definitely in our sights to make sure that this is something that makes a substantial difference, tangible difference in our centennial year and beyond. So thank you for asking that, Ashley. We're impassioned by that. Anybody else? We have about 4 minutes. Parents, anything that's burning questions that you want to ask? Yes, Isana's parent.
Yes, my name's Kia Yaguda. Hello.
Hi,
And
Tia.
thank you very much for a wonderful and informative session here.
Our pleasure.
So when, you know, of course, we worry as parents about the safety of our children, and of course, housing is very important. Could you tell us a little bit about housing for freshmen, what that looks like, and
yes,
and throughout the college years?
Yes,
I mean,
throughout the undergraduate.
encourage you to leave after a couple years, I think. You know, I'm not sure.
They give you the opportunity. Yeah, they give you the opportunity to not be housed in the
Yes.
student living center.
Yes.
I'm happy to take that. Stephen, why don't you take it?
Well, I just thought I'd jump in because as an undergrad student, I was an RA and I spent all 4 years in the student living center. So it's right across the street from the school. You know, it's about as close as you could possibly get to everything you're going to be doing. And in addition, if you have any studies over at the River campus, there's a shuttle bus that runs back and forth, I think every half an hour, sometimes even 15 minutes. So Rochester is a city, but I have always felt safe on campus. We have security in the main hall. We have security that regularly is present around the campus area. And yeah, I think every first year student is housed in the student living center. And then you have the opportunity to move out, but you're not required to move out if you don't want to. You're also welcome to stay there. So it's really up to you. Does that sort of answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, good. Thanks. Okay. One more question, maybe? Yes, Alana. Yeah, good.
Sorry, my parents wanted to know about streaming performances at all. We're from Madison, Wisconsin, so of course they're probably not going to be able to come to all of the performances live, but they wanted to know about streaming purposes.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, we love having parents come in person or to be involved in live stream. Right now, many of our performances are live streamed because that's really the only way that parents could attend. And so I know that that will continue. Most of our recitals are automatically live streamed. Certainly all of our major concerts are live streamed. They are also, you have the chance to do that yourself. If it's your recital, you could set up a your own live stream. So there are ways that we can do that. And we have a full department of technology and media presentation that make that possible. So with some foreknowledge, we can definitely make arrangements to do that. So they're always welcome. We'll say hi. And your parents should know that the president of our university was most recently in Madison. That was her position before she joined our faculty. Sarah Mangelsdorf is her name. And we are thrilled to have that Madison connection. Yeah. Okay. Well, yes, Holden, you're going to be our last question. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
So I know we were talking about like the whole acting and movement thing. I was also wondering, like how you joked about there's no, like, you're not going to force anybody to take like ballet courses or whatever. But do you have ballet courses or like movement courses of that caliber?
We do. The River Campus is the other part of our bigger complex for the university, and there are dance classes of all kinds over there. There are also extracurricular clubs that do different kind of ethnic dance, cultural dancing. So there are many, many ways that you can do that. But yes, in a short answer. I'm going to leave because I'm the host, but you'll all be back in about 45 seconds or so in our main room. See you. Okay, cool. Hi, welcome back, everybody.
Catherine, let me just finish one tiny little thing. I was just
Absolutely. Yeah,
about,
sure.
the student safety issue. I was just mentioning that the campus police are an ever-present sight for all of us here now. The guards at the front of the entrance to the school, which you now have to show an ID or you cannot get in. This is relatively new, this practice, and the guards will also, if asked, they will escort you to the student living center or one of the apartment complexes where some of the older students, the grad students, live. We also have a very encouraged buddy system where, you know, if you're at a late rehearsal, especially in the opera department, when they have their run-throughs and their production week, it runs late into the evening, that you always are able to walk back to your place with somebody. So this is where, I mean, this is, as Professor Cabell was just saying, it's not unique to Rochester that we have a risk like this. It's unique to any urban setting. The Manhattan School of Music. I have a dear colleague who lost his Rolex watch one day. Rolex watch, because he got mugged. So, and the Juilliard School is right there in Lincoln Center. It doesn't seem dangerous, but it is an urban atmosphere. So we're not unique that way. And we have put in a lot of safety protocols to make sure that you get from A to B safely.
Oh, very good point. Thank you, Professor Swenson. One last thing that I didn't mention earlier, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking of this, is that the Eastman School of Music, in collaboration with the University of Rochester, offer the chance for you to do dual degrees if you are so inclined. And there's a lot of detail about that, so I won't go into it, unfortunately, at this late moment, but there's lots of information about it. But I will tell you that almost 20% year to year, almost 20% of the students at Eastman are pursuing more than one degree. And part of that is just the nature of being the high achievers that we are in this community. But it's also the way that we see that there are opportunities to really fit your own life goals. And so please do not hesitate to ask further questions about that if that's in something of interest. Looking forward to making more distinct plans. So we are so happy that we got this time with you today. Thank you for taking the time to come and learn more about our program. This is something that we value, this personal opportunity to be with you as virtually we are this time, but it is a tradition that we do in our auditions process as well, where we do meet directly with the students during the audition day. So we wanted to make that as close to the real thing as possible in this circumstance. We are grateful that you have thought of Eastman as one of your target schools that you really want to show us what you're made of. We look forward to sharing what we know and to supporting your development should you be one of the students who have reached that final level of qualifying. So stay well, job one, healthy, stay healthy, and sing healthfully. Think about your process as a long-term one. If things don't work out the way you imagined they would, make the best of the situation that is presented to you. That's part of what artists do. They work with the current conditions that they're in, the restrictions or the opportunities that they see, and they become inspired by what they can do in this moment. So know that there's no dead end. There are just ways forward that are different for each of us. And we look forward to experiencing as many of those moments with you as we are able to. So,
and thank you to the parents for listening in and getting as much information as you need to know too for your
right. We are here for you in that regard always. So yeah, the hands waving from the side of the screens. I love it. All right. All the best to you. Stay safe, stay well, and we look forward to being together at another time in the near future. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're so glad. Thank you. Bye. Okay. Bye. Okay.
Well
Thank
done,
you all.
everybody.
This was a marathon. We're so delighted that you could take time to do that.